Hello, I'm Pavel. This is about UavCAN. UavCAN is an acronym that stands for Uncomplicated Application Level Vehicular Communication and Networking. We started the project in 2014 as an attempt to create a modern real-time communication protocol for new vehicular systems that offer rich abstractions while at the same time being conceptually simple and easy to implement. We position UavCAN as a means of implementing high integrity, real-time distributed vehicular computing. This is slightly different from the conventional concept of a vehicle data bus. The difference is probably best described through the levels of abstraction like this. Suppose we put different communication solutions on a table, segregating them by their core concepts like this. The design focus here is the main factor considered by the developer of the vehicular system. So, as a baseline, we take the simplest means of communication, that is the direct physical connectivity between the components within the vehicle to exchange either analog signals or their digitized representations using dedicated cable harnesses. Digital protocols typically also apply time multiplexing here. A data bus, in this case, we are talking about a logical data bus regardless of its physical organization, typically offers a higher level of abstraction where the design is focused on packets of semantically related data as opposed to just scalar signals. The next and highest level is the level of distributed computing. The design process at this level is focused not merely on specific data packets or signals, but on higher level relations between the components of the vehicular system. The technologies used to facilitate distributed computing are often incompatible with the high degrees of safety and determinism required in critical vehicular applications. Abstraction is becoming increasingly important today when the complexity of vehicular intelligence is increasing rapidly. At the same time, the safety standards are as high as ever. UavCAN is our attempt at offering rich abstractions that are familiar to software engineers at zero cost without compromising on functional safety. We achieve this by keeping the protocol very simple and focused. If you take, for example, DDS or TPS, a very rich and complex protocol, its implementation may take 100,000 lines of code or even more, which would be difficult to verify and validate compared to the 1,000 or 2,000 lines of code needed to implement UavCAN. Obviously, UavCAN does not attempt to put itself directly against such rich and complex technologies like DDS. They are not comparable. They target different applications after all. But UavCAN implements the subset of the functionality that is the most relevant for the targeted applications. To illustrate the complexity of the protocol, here is a social media post from one of the adopters of the technology who claims to have implemented the protocol from scratch in 2 weeks. In late 2019, we decided to take a closer look at our adopters and we ran a survey. Among other things, we confirmed that UavCAN is being deployed in various types of vehicles, including new projects of manned electric aircraft, spacecraft, obviously drones, which is a major domain for us, and general robotics as well. About half of the respondents reported interest in using UavCAN with Ethernet as opposed to CAN bus. This confirmed our hypothesis that UavCAN is relevant beyond CAN and drones. The protocol is focused on the distributed computing and communication requirements that are common for many diverse vehicular applications. In its draft revision called version 0, the protocol used to provide a specialized application layer specification optimized for drones. It is no longer part of the protocol. This change caused much distress among the existing adopters, but it's actually no reason for concern because the application layer specification is still there. It is just maintained by a different body. Our good colleagues from the PX4 project are working on the UavCAN drone standard, which will provide a solid application layer specification tailored for unmanned vehicles. We actively take part in the design process to ensure that the design follows solid engineering principles and it is long-term viable. Other such application standards may appear in the future independently. We, as UavCAN maintainers, actually prefer to distance ourselves from specifying applications and focus instead only on the protocol itself. The case of the drone standard might be a slight exception here because we want to ensure that the first such standard leverages the protocol correctly and is built according to the best practices. Particularly, we want to make sure that the users of UavCAN adopt the proper mindset and view the protocol not as yet another vehicular bus, interconnecting the various vehicular components with the main computer, but a facilitator of distributed intelligence where the network itself is an integral part of it. To educate our adopters about best practices, we made a comprehensive guide. I have to name it the UavCAN guide, which is already available online here. If you design UavCAN systems, please read it. Okay, next I'm going to describe the current state of the UavCAN hardware ecosystem. The technology is very new, but there appear to be a bunch of vendors who not only leverage the protocol internally, but manufacture UavCAN compatible commercial off-the-shelf hardware. For example, there is obviously Zubox Robotics, which I am affiliated with. Then there is NXP Semiconductors with their UavCAN compatible development kits and reference designs. VESC, an open source ESC project with a variety of different hardware implementations. Ecotrons, they manufacture an electronic fuel injection system with UavCAN interface. Holybro manufacture autopilots and ESC. There are UavCAN interface servos from Hightech and also from InnoFlight. Battery management systems from ARC Electronics, various avionics from M Robotics, including also the development board. Speaking about development boards in particular, they are important because they reduce the entry barriers for adopters building their own hardware. At the moment, there are two major offerings from M Robotics, this one, and also from NXP. And there is also a very new project called BlueCAN, offering UavCAN components for different applications. The point I'm trying to illustrate here is that the ecosystem is growing rapidly. By the way, note that some of the products are based on extremely resource-constrained bare metal microcontrollers, which is a testament to the simplicity argument I introduced earlier. UavCAN can be operated in a microcontroller with only 32K of flash and maybe 8K of RAM. The future development of the technology relies on external contributions. First things first, if you can support UavCAN financially, consider donating here. But a better way to contribute is to dedicate some engineering workforce. The development of the protocol tends to lag behind the schedule, sometimes badly, which occasionally causes concern among the adopters. I would like to encourage more users to submit patches and code because this is something we need help most with. One of the most critical items that are still missing due to the resource starvation is the new user interface. We are building a complex and powerful graphical tool for developing, debugging, and maintaining UavCAN-based vehicular systems, and the project needs contributors, mostly front-end engineers. The tool is built on the conventional web stack. The backend is on Python, and the front-end is based on Vue. Please coordinate with us through the forum. Even though the graphical user interface is not available, it is possible to use this command line interface. In this example, we define a basic data type point_xy, which contains just two fields, and we include it into another custom data type. We get an array of points. We generate the code from this DSDL definitions and generate the standard definitions, and afterwards we launch a subscriber using the topic number 1, 2, 3, 4, using this new data type over the UDP transport. And then likewise, in a similar manner, we launch a publisher also over the UDP transport using this YAML field specification format here. It is a little bit awkward to use, but it doesn't require a graphical user interface, and that's the advantage of this method. Like this. Okay, and we get the 3 messages published. That's it. The last thing I want to say is that if you are an adopter, please give us a shout out on the forum. We would like to know our users and where and how they use UavCAN. Thank you.